In this video, I'm going to show you how to make a really cute little spring/summer decor piece that you can use to decorate your porch. So if you want to see how I made this, well, then follow me. What's up, Glue Dots? I'm Elaine, the Midnight Crafter. The DIY I have for you today is easy, it's fun, it's inexpensive, and it's pretty quick to make too. I mean, can you beat that? It's the perfect little touch of spring and summer whimsy to add to your decor. You can put it indoors or outdoors, and you can use it for succulents, silk flowers, herb garden. It's pretty versatile, so whatever you can imagine, you can use it for. Also, you can change up the paint style on it to make it a little more modern. I've done it in a little more of sort of a farmhouse decor, so the sky's the limit. Use your imagination. You guys have some amazing ideas, and I learn so much from you all the time. And as soon as you hit that like button down below, we will get this party started, and I'll show you how I made it. But first, I want you to check out that description box down below because there's a lot of good information down there, including the link to enter to win a cute little bling owl keychain, and the drawing is done the first of every month. So, I think, what do you guys say? Let's get to it. When you take your ring here, the first thing we're going to do is feel around until you find where the connection point is on it. So my connection point is over here, and this is important because we don't want to end up cutting this in the wrong place. Then we're going to work on peeling away this outside wrapping that's on here, and you might need to use something, a scissors or Exacto knife or something to get this started, just giving a little slice to it and peeling it away. So this is going to take a little bit of work. What I discovered when I was doing it is if you can find the seam of it and pull away at where the seam is, it makes it a lot easier. So you can see that's where the junction was and it came apart. And now to get this thing started first, so the top part of where this is here. So sometimes people, I see them, they just yank and pull at this to get it off. And I was doing that too, but I discovered that if you find that seam and you pull away at it that way, it comes off so much easier, right? So this, anyway, just a tip. You can pull it off however you want, but I just found this to be the quickest and easiest. Ooh, and something I almost forgot. This thing has little rocks in it, so make sure once you get to your open end that you dump the little rocks out that are in there. This one doesn't have too many, thank God, because I forgot and I just kind of dumped some of them onto my lap. Now that we've got that all taken off, you're going to take out this little plug thingy that's here. Then we're going to take a measuring tape and measure around. Each one varies a little, so I would suggest that you actually do this and don't just go by my measurements, but go around and measure the outside diameter all the way around your hoop, and then we're going to divide that by 2 so that we can find the center point and cut this exactly in half. I've marked my center point now, and I'm going to use my box cutter here and cut this in half. If you have a good strong like kitchen knife or something like that that you want to use too, that might be a little safer way to go. Whatever you feel comfortable with. So now we have our 2 equal pieces, and what we're going to be doing next is taking some of our long bamboo skewers. You'll find these in like the summertime in the barbecue type section at Dollar Tree. And you'll probably be needing 2 of them depending on the length you decide to make them. So these, what we're going to be using them for, is these will be what will be holding our little pieces here apart. They're going to be running this way and keeping these equally distanced apart. So decide what you want that distance to be. Now know that you don't want them to be too close because you won't have stability and it'll tip, and you can make them as wide as you want. I'm going to give mine a little more width here so they have some stability to stay standing, and it looks like mine will be about from the center to center here, just about 4.5 inches apart. So we want to take into account, if we want those 4.5 inches apart, we're going to need our skewer sticks to probably be approximately 5.5 inches long, so they have a little bit of some overhang. And whatever you want to cut these with, I love just using my wire cutters for this because it just seems easier, and I kind of score it going around and super easy. We're going to be cutting 7 of these pieces. I am using, which I forgot to mention, the smallest diameter hula hoop that I found at Dollar Tree, which I believe is 20.5 inches long. Now we have our pieces cut, and we're going to start assembling this. You want to place these at the distance apart that you need, and then kind of get a general feel of where that distance is going to be. But then also have a couple of your extra sticks that you put down here, because you don't want this to be torqued in any way or lopsided, because that will affect how balanced it is as far as standing up. So you can see I kind of have those pieces all put in place just as a reference, so that way I know how much apart to put these on the top. Try your best not to push down on this and torque it at all, because that will definitely change the measurements too, and the positioning. So once you have that kind of in place where you need it to be, find your center point on the top, add some hot glue, and we're going to be gluing our first stick across. And while that's cooling, you do have a moment to adjust if need be. You want to make sure you look at this from all angles so that you know that it is not leaning to one side or the other, because if it is leaning, then later you won't have the stability and it could tip over once you have your little pots hanging in place. Now I'm going to go ahead and glue on in the same way. I'm going to find, probably starting from the bottom, just to make sure that I get this securely into place where it needs to be as well. We're going to do our bottom pieces on the outside, and maybe about a 1/4 inch or so up from the table. And I'm just going to put this on my stick this time and take a look to see that it looks parallel to you and that it's not sideways or angled in any way. Do the same on the other side, and then we'll be doing the same thing, evenly spacing them here, almost like a little rungs on a ladder. So space them evenly across onto both sides. One thing to take note of when we are hanging our little pot from this one, that it actually has some room to hang. So you want this one to be high enough that it will have a little bit of play underneath and some space to hang. So do take that into account when you're putting on, especially this second one here. Once we have all those pieces in place, I'm going to be painting mine with this white Waverly chalk paint, and I've decided that I want to have a little bit of some variance in the design and the color, I guess. So I'm only going to be painting the hula hoop white. I'm going to leave the sticks as they are, and then we're going to be using some twine. So I kind of like having the varied colors on there. If you like it to have kind of a more, I guess, rustic look or unfinished, you may only want to do one coat and go with that brown coming through underneath to sort of give it a little more of an unfinished look, I guess, is what I don't know, seeing the brush strokes, I guess, is what I'm saying. And if you don't want that, you probably just let this dry and go back over with a second coat. This is what I'm talking about as far as seeing the brush strokes through. I did 2 kind of rough coats of paint on mine, and the underside, whoops, looks like I missed a spot. But I'm not too concerned about that, because what I'm going to do is just take some sandpaper. I'm actually going to use this sanding block from Dollar Tree, but sandpaper works fine too. And I'm just going to kind of go over and rough up a few spots to give it a little bit of that aged look and that weathered look. It gets a little more chippy when you do it this way, so you can do as much or as little or none, whatever you want. wanted to give you kind of a little look at how I distressed mine so you can see it kind of almost has the feel of wood, which I really love that. Next, what we're going to be doing is taking twine, and you know what? I got this at Dollar Tree, you guys. This is, I hadn't seen it before. Huge roll. This will last forever for $1. I'm so excited. So what we're going to be doing now is I feel like it's easier to just cut shorter pieces to do this. So this, I'm just cutting a piece, I don't know, maybe like 12 inches long, and it's mostly for decor. And what we're going to be doing with this is crisscrossing and making our little, make it look sort of like that these rungs are tied on here. And you can do as much of it around or as little of it as you want, and either tie it off at the bottom or hot glue it, whichever you prefer. I feel like the hot glue is going to be less bulky, so I'm going to do that. This way the bottom has a nice finished edge and the top has this crisscross feel to it. I'm going to do that on all of the junction points. Now we're going to work on our next step, which is to ready our little baskets for hanging. If you're getting value out of my channel and out of this video, please give me a thumbs up and share this channel with other people. It really helps it to grow. I'd really appreciate it too. What we're going to do is take the twine and measure out a piece that is 10 inches long. Then you're going to tie 2 knots at the very, very end of the string. You can do 1, but I feel like 2 will give it a little more, a little better hold. So I'm just going to go with 2, one on top of the other one. And do this to both ends. Now we're going to take the little pot and place this one little knot. You're going to put it just down a bit from that lip there. So because we're going to be wrapping this with more twine to hold our handle in place, and you do want to have some place for that twine to kind of fit in. So I'm going to put a little dot of hot glue to hold that in place while I'm working with it. Next, we're going to pass it over this. Before you glue that other side of your handle in place, pass it over the little stick and make sure it is directly across from where you glued the other one, and you're going to glue your other little part of the handle the same way we did the other side. Now this is not really going to be enough to hold your pot because it can come unstuck. So the next thing we're going to do is take a longer piece of twine. It doesn't matter how long because you can cut this one off. Add a little dot of glue so that it'll hold it in place for you to be able to start. And then we're going to start wrapping this around to hold both sides of our handle in place. And you want to wrap it pretty tightly because this is what's going to keep the handle from sliding out. And once there's some weight in there too, you do want to make sure that you have enough to hold it in place. Make sure you go above your knot and wrap it around as many times as you like the look. Once you get it where you want it, add a little dot of glue and finish it off so it'll stay there, and cut off the excess. Now you have your pot hanging in place. We're going to do that and put all 5 of our little pots into place. I'm going to finish this up and then I'm going to show it to you. I think it's turning out really, really cute. If there's any little embellishments you want to add on to your pots, you can do that. I'm going to try adding this little ribbon from Dollar Tree on a couple of them. Why not? Just change it up a bit. You ready to see it?